So I have to get this out because it's hitting me, and it's a really big realization and a really big moment of evolution for me, and I want to remember it. I thank everyone for remembering that, like every other human on this planet, I am imperfect and it will come out imperfectly, and that's okay. And when I remember that there's a better way to explain it or clarify it, I will do that. So I've been having a lot of realizations since late last night about forgiveness. And just when you think you've understood forgiveness, woof, that learning and healing spiral comes right back around to show you, well, you missed this, and you missed that, and you missed this, right? So I had another layer of forgiveness to go with people I thought I had already forgiven in my life. I realized that the parts of me that have been hurt by them, that were not seen, being hurt by them because I was protecting myself. A part of me was protecting myself, as it always had. When I'd been hurt by people in the past, that same part of me showed up to protect me. It did not believe in conflict. I believe in shutting down, or that part of me believes in shutting down and avoiding conflict and never forgetting what they did to hurt me, so we can remember that and instead create resentment in our body and live with the familiarity of having resentment and having that since birth, because I was abused and traumatized since birth. And that was my way. That was my survival strategy. That's how my mind and my body decided was the safest and best way for us at that time. We don't confront. We don't potentially put ourselves in the way of danger by going, well, that was shitty, or you're a shitty person. You're being a shitty person to me right now, or you're doing something that's hurting me, or any of that. No confrontation. We don't do that. We just remember it, and then we store the resentment in our body and suffer in our body of resentment. And then pretend everything's okay, and hopes that all the new things that I will do will never make them want to do that ever again. So how can I just continue being a better person? How can I continue giving more, doing more, so that this person will never do that again, never do that hurtful thing to me again, and like me the ways that I want them to like me, and spend time and space with me in the ways that I want them to, and then treat me the way that I'm treating them, because I feel like everything I'm doing is modeling to them how I want to be treated, how I treat them. Not realizing at that time when I would do that, that all I was really doing was saying one thing with my words and my actions, but my energy was saying something completely different. Because you can't have that much resentment inside of you with somebody you've known that long, or any somebodies you've known, many somebodies that you've known that long, and not have messed up energy around them, because you haven't dealt with it. You just stored the resentment, and they're going to feel that. So you're living in a contradiction. My words, my actions say this one thing, and my energy around them says something completely different. And I see that now, when I missed it so many times before. So, what else did I realize? I realized that same part of me that wants to try and make sense of things, that wants to try to prevent things outside of me from ever hurting me again. And that's literally impossible, an impossible task, right? Impossible. Wants to plan, predict, and a pseudo attempt of control. I mean, I know there's a part of me that knows there is no control. I am in control of nothing on earth, just like nobody else is. Not really. Control's an illusion. But that same part of you wants to, because it feels like it's all this planning and predicting is a sense of control. So it takes what little I know about somebody else, and it doesn't matter how well I know somebody. I do not know them as well as I think I do. I am just beginning to start digging into my subconscious. I have definitely scratched the surface. I have definitely removed surface materials and have started to go deep into it. And I don't know if I could ever figure it all out in one lifetime. I don't know. I'm trying though. I'm surrendering into it. But you have to push back against that. No, we're not fighting anything. That doesn't work. War on drugs, war on anything, any war ever proves that does not work. So I'm pushing back and I'm challenging that part of my brain that wants to plan and predict and go, well, they did this and they did that. We know this from their childhood because we were there with them. And then, this person, this parent, I was there my whole childhood with them. And so I know them. I do not know my mom's subconscious. I do not know my dad's subconscious. I do not know any person I have spent any amount of time with, even for decades. I do not know their subconscious. I do not know their childhood. I was not in there. I was only in mine, period. I wasn't even in my brother's. My brother was having a completely different experience than mine. There's a whole world of information on that out there if you don't know that. I can't teach you that, but many other people can. Siblings have different realities, different childhoods than each other. So it doesn't matter what I saw. It doesn't matter what I know. It's a very fragmented, incomplete picture. But that part of my mind that wants to protect me, because we got to protect so much trauma, childhood full of trauma, infancy full of trauma, toddlerhood full of trauma, early adulthood full of trauma, teens full of trauma. Trauma. We have to predict. We have to plan. We have to keep ourselves safe. We have to do it. And I have to push back against that and go, I don't know that person's subconscious at all. Barely starting to get to know mine in a deep, meaningful sort of way. So I'm going to take a pause here and take a breath. So with one person I'm thinking of in particular, something was happening to them that I felt like it shouldn't, that it was taking away from somebody who actually needs real help. People that don't have a lot of money and do not have a lot of resources and friends and help and family. But I don't know that. There could be organizations out there that help people that do have privilege, but still need some help for whatever the reasons. But in the beginning, when I first heard that, I was so angry because this person has had everything given to them. And I'm not saying they haven't earned it too, but a lot of it was given so that they could earn it. And that never happened for me. Not really. So I missed a completely huge element that also tied back into me. This person needed that help because it wasn't just in the form of monetary and or other things that were back to money. It wasn't just that. They needed the people involved in that organization that I was unwilling and unable, most importantly, to be for this person. Couldn't do it because I could not see that they needed that person, those people, one, and two, I was unable to see that I was unwilling and unable to be those people, even though I have a similar traumatic background in that aspect. Why could I not be that person? Because I could not forgive, like I thought I had, the fact that when I was going through all that a long 19 years ago, that those people in my life, because there was more than just one, but only one has a similar traumatic background, could not be that person for me back then. They couldn't be what I needed. And I felt utterly alone. And I was, basically. They were great for distractions. They were great for, let's not think about this. Let's not talk about this. Let's do anything else. Let's carry on as if this isn't really happening. And I absolutely needed somebody to witness my trauma. Again, another trauma. After a lifetime of nobody genuinely witnessing and sitting with me in my trauma. And they couldn't do it because they just couldn't. They couldn't do it. They didn't have the ability at that time, if ever. I don't know if they would ever, because I'm just figuring this out, and I don't, So I couldn't do it because I resented the fact that they couldn't be the person, the people that I needed, that I really needed during those times. And that they got to have a bunch of fun and be young and be carefree while I was surviving cancer and surviving chemotherapy and the nightmare that it was, and all the other nightmare, horrible crap that happened to me all around that time. It was numb out and distract and numb out. There was nobody really sitting with me and witnessing it. Not really. And they couldn't. I couldn't at that time. Not really. I couldn't handle it. It was overload. I have no idea how I've survived my life up until this point with such a dysregulated nervous system, such a compromised, leaky, terrible gut for the longest time that wasn't really ever digesting or probably absorbing food the way I needed it to, like it is now. And thus having a body and mind riddled with inflammation and thus autoimmune issues as well. No idea how I did it, other than I have the most brilliantly beautiful, incredible body ever that is very much mirroring my soul and its relentlessness. I just have a relentlessly, brilliantly beautiful body. Relentless. Like my soul refuses to give up somehow, some way, by some miracle, refuses to give up. Take a breath again. So what have I learned from seeing how my words and my actions were out of alignment with my energy and what was going on inside of my mind and my body, really? I learned that I don't know anything about anyone else. I really don't. As much history as I have with them, I don't know their subconscious. And a subconscious mind runs the vast majority. I want to say I read it was 90% of our lives, of our waking lives. It's running the show. It's basically running everything. And again, I'm just barely starting to get deep with mine. I will never have lived somebody else's childhood that formed them and their subconscious. I will never know anyone like I know myself, and I'm just getting started with myself at 42 years old. Nobody is paying me to be resentful. Nobody is paying me to compare and judge and criticize and complain. As much as I want to get out of that trap, I have to catch myself doing it. I'm going to have to keep catching myself doing it because I don't always talk about that stuff. You can ask Kevin. I don't always talk about that stuff out loud. But it's inside me. I'm feeling it more than I'm thinking it. My body loves to feel. And if you know me and my body's history, then you know that that makes a lot of sense. So, what do I consciously want to choose instead? I give myself permission to be a compassionate person, to freely admit that I don't know hardly anything about anyone else at all, and nobody knows anything really about we know what a hair's worth of eternity. Never ever claimed to be the smartest person anyways, but I do know a little about a lot. I want to be compassionate. I give myself permission to be a compassionate person. I give myself permission to remember the gifts and the potentials and the possibility and the unseen and the unknown. And as I choose to be a compassionate person, as I choose to remember that there is so much I don't know, there's so much I don't see, that I can just soften. I can soften and surrender into even deeper and deeper layers of genuine, real forgiveness. That I can remember that these people had traumatic childhoods too. That they had to deny aspects of themselves to feel safe in their homes, and thus fractionated themselves apart from their authentic whole self. I have to remember this and know, because it happened to me so many times, and I'm still untangling and detangling the pieces and starting to understand who I really am authentically outside of conditioning and programming and pain and resentment and hurts and being let down and not feeling safe and not being protected. Who am I now that I am safe? Who am I now that I am protected? Who am I when I'm not just allowing my mouth to run, or my mind or my feelings or my body to run during times of stress, primarily when I'm working? I get very, very critical when I'm working because I'm so stressed from it, because it's a stressful job. Who am I? Who is the authentic me that was never allowed to dream because she was constantly surviving, planning and predicting and doing and denying parts of herself so she could feel safe? Who is that person? This is a gratitude cry. This is a release. This is recognition. This is evolution. This is not me running at all and denying or numbing. It is me acknowledging, facing, dealing my way into a healing. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to have understood this, that I could put these pieces together and see all of this, because it was really complicated for so long. And yet so simple as well, because we say that all the time, or it's in memes, or it's in trite, overused statements. Trite because they're true. Be compassionate. You don't know everything. Choose love whenever possible. Forgive I say when you're ready, when you're able, when you're willing, when you see it. And then know that deeper levels of forgiveness will come around on that healing and learning spiral. Life's going to come back and go, wait a minute, you missed that. You missed that. You missed that. And that's okay. You don't have to figure it out. It will bring it back for you. Again and again until you get it. Deeper and deeper realizations. And maybe I'll have more in the future. Hopefully I'll have more in the future. Because I do not want to walk around with resentments in my body. I want my body to be free. I want my mind to be free. I want my heart to be free. I want my feet to be light. My body to feel light. And it feels lighter after all this realization between last night and now. It feels so much lighter. It feels so much freer. I am a compassionate person. I choose to be a compassionate person. I choose to remember that I don't know hardly anything, and that's okay. I choose to embrace the unknown and the unseen that's full to overflowing with infinite potentials, infinite possibilities, infinite opportunities. I choose to remember to ask my eternal energy, body, my eternal energetic soul, and what I believe is our divine source creator consciously creating us with every heartbeat and every breath and everything we know and everything we don't know. It's creating all of it. I choose to remember and know that I can ask it and my eternal highest realist self for help, because I need help, just like all humans on earth. I will never fall into the illusion trap of Little Miss Independent ever again. Yes, I did a shit ton of stuff for myself. I still do a lot of stuff for myself, but I am not independent at all. We are fully designed with touch and community in mind. We all, or I think most people, have heard about the studies that have been done on people who were raised basically fairly, raised in a closet, raised in a basement, with little to no touch, what that does to humans, what that does to animals. Independence is a lie. It's an illusion. It's not real. It's a false reality. We are not denying that people have had to do things for themselves. I know I've had to do a lot of stuff for myself. I know I still do a lot of stuff for myself. But I am not going to fall for the trap that I don't need anyone else anymore. Ever again. Absolutely need people. I absolutely need touch. I absolutely need hugs. I absolutely need snuggles. I absolutely need love. I absolutely love hearing people talk to me and telling me sweet and loving things. I need it. I'm programmed like every other human. I need it. My nervous system needs it. My body needs it. My mind needs it. And I want it. So I'm never falling for that crap again. Because it's crap. It's total crap. Thank you, Teal Swan. Thank you, Agape community, and everybody who has taught me, not really taught me, but has reminded me of this truth. Because once you remember it, you feel it in your bones, you feel it in your body, you feel it in your soul, and you know that's the truth. You just got lost. You went down the wrong path. Now you're back on the truth path. And that's okay. We're allowed to get lost. As long as we don't give up on finding our way back to the truth, right? We don't give up. So I feel so much better right now than I did last night when I was having all these realizations that I was still very much upset and resentful of people in my life and my mind. For once, did the nice thing and jumped in and said, no, you've been learning, you've been reading, you've been meditating, you've been praying, I I can remind you of all these things you've put in here. I can remind you, and you can figure this out. You know this, you know this, you know this. You're not gonna stay upset. You're not gonna stay hurt. We got this. And I'm sure my soul was involved too. Of course it was. It's involved in everything. And source. And things I don't even know. But I feel and believe and trust are there working together with me for my good, for my highest good. So now, going forward, when I remember, when I'm presented with any evidence or any memory of pain and resentment and hurts, I stop immediately in that moment, and I have compassion for myself, and I have compassion for those people who are hurting me from a place of their hurt. Because that's all it is, right? Hurt people hurt people. People who are numbing out, not dealing, not admitting, not talking, not dealing with their pain whatsoever. They're going to hurt other people just like I hurt other people inadvertently with my shitty energy that didn't match my actions and words. It's so funny at work today. I had gone back into my notes to revise something that I had tried to do back when I was still at the previous employer. So probably 2 years ago at least, maybe a little further back. I was trying to rewrite and restate something that's fairly complicated to say because it's very repetitive in some ways, but then there's certain little tweaks in it depending on variables that you have to get right. And I had flashback in the middle of it. I was like, oh, I tried to do this before and I failed. I remembered I dumbed it way down and I made it very not helpful. And it was, at the time it helped me remember what I needed to do in these certain instances. But it was so incomplete in its information. And then out today, I just spent an hour of perfecting it over and over and over again so it was perfect. So it would be step-by-step instructions on how to do that in that instance, in these instances, and what you need to do and exactly how you need to do it. And then here I am doing that in my personal life. With forgiveness and compassion. It's incredible. Don't give up on yourselves. Be relentless in your pursuits of understanding and detangling and untangling your pain and your traumas and your confusions and anything that's in your body that when you feel that tightness in your chest or you feel that tightness in your solar plexus, it's your body talking to you. Deal with this. Face me. Deal with me. Heal me. Don't ignore it for years and years and decades and decades. Not that you're intending. I don't have any regrets, okay? I did the best that I could do in my past. At the time and the knowledge and where I was at in my life. I did the best that I could. I know that. But I also know that there are younger people coming up behind me who are doing this and realizing this so much faster and so much better than me. And I'm so grateful for them because I feel like their ability to do that faster is helping me in some way. And then me doing this for me is helping others in some way too. Because we're all a collective body. We're all parts of the same whole. We're all waves in the same ocean. Trite and true. I don't want to hurt myself anymore if I can avoid it. And lovingly heal that. So then I don't hurt my collective whole either. I want to do all this for myself. So I can in turn do it for the collective because there is no healing other people or anything outside of me. All the collective healing begins with the individual. and then radiates out from the overflow. That's why I get really nervous or when I see people when I see myself or anyone else trying to change or whatever. Because I do cringe when I try to, I feel like it's teach. I feel like it's share. But I know there's also some part of me that wants them to change, and I can't enact change in anyone else. Yes, I can share information with my husband, with my children, but that's all I can do. There's literally nothing else I can do but share what I've learned, and that's it. So I hope that's what I'm doing here for hopefully my children one day. Hopefully they'll watch this video. I don't know. I hope. And I hope they'll see how profound these realizations are for my expansion, for my growth, for my eternal energetic soul's evolution while I'm here in this temporary human body. Because that's what we want to do here, right? We want to learn. And then when we learn, we just want to share that learning. And that's a beautiful thing. Even though it doesn't always work out, it's a beautiful thing that we don't want to keep and hoard all this learning to ourselves, that we want to share and give it freely and lovingly and generously with other people. That's a beautiful, miraculous thing. And I know that I'm doing this because I'm finally taking better care of my nervous system, which I knew very little to nothing about until very, very recently as well, like my gut. The gut was much harder. The gut came pretty quickly after I don't know how to say that, but I don't know if it came pretty quickly, but the gut felt the longest, but the nervous system came pretty quickly. The nervous system regulation and learning how to regulate my stress and anxiety levels happened pretty quickly once I got my gut healed, more healed than anything else. Thank you. Digestive enzymes, a low hydrochloric acid digestive enzyme from Julia Loggins. Anything from Julia Loggins. That woman's life is on purpose with a purpose. She is here to perform miracles in people like me and so many other people. Dr. Perry, Stop Chasing Pain, moving my own lymph on a regular basis. Too many people to list here, but this is already 33 minutes long, but I guess I can go through them real fast. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Zach Bush, MD, big one. Blue of Earth, Blue without an E, Blue Sanzi, Teal Swan, Nicole LaPera, the holistic psychologist, Leah from Lymph Love Club, Eckhart Tolle, Joel S. Goldsmith, The Invisible Supply, and all his books, really, all Joel S. Goldsmith books, like Michael Beckwith says. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton, lots of doctors who are incredibly spiritual. I mean, we're all spiritual. We are all spiritual beings here, but for lack of a better word, science and my doctors who are science and spirit masters. I know I'm leaving some out, but I'm hungry. Thank you for listening to me for this 30+ minute journey. Thank you for feeling me. Thank you for witnessing me. Thank you for intentionally breathing with me and our nervous systems. I love you. I believe in you. I trust you. I'm finding peace and compassion with you. I'm choosing it with you. And I'm learning to love unconditionally.